Hi, if you're new to our channel, I'm Mark,
I'm Paulette.
and we are the Two Travelers in Mexico.
We lived in California. We sold our home. We got rid of everything that we owned, and we packed up our Honda Elantra and headed to Mexico.
Basically came here with nothing but the clothes on our backs and a few totes in our car.
Yeah.
And now we are documenting our experience here in Mexico, good and bad. We hope you like what you see. Hope you'll subscribe, click the like button. We also have a Facebook group called the Two Travelers in Mexico, if you would like to join that. Stay tuned for the main feature. Hello followers of the Two Travels in Mexico. Paulette and I were faced with a quarantine dilemma today as they're replacing some gas lines in our apartment, actually inside our apartment. And Paulette is taking off my mask.
You could hear better that way.
And then, so our dilemma was, the gas, they did shut the gas off. They are doing some construction in there. However, it is not my desire in life to die in an accidental fiery explosion. So our dilemma was that we, felt like we needed to leave the apartment while the work is being done. Even though you're really only supposed to go out for a necessary trip, like to the doctor's office, hospital, or to the grocery store.
So anyhow, Mark and I decided to get out of the house today. Sometimes I think of myself as a prepper. Apparently, they think that there's a gas leak, and they're going to be working on replacing some pipes in the kitchen area to the stove. And I just thought, I had time to think about things, right? Being quarantined, so why not put all of our important paperwork in the car, passports, all that sort of stuff, medical, just everything that was important to us. And we decided to pack our backpacks and just get out of the house. I'm not saying that anything bad's going to happen, but I think if something did, I don't want to be there with a gas leak, and nor do I want to leave all my important paperwork there. What do you think, babe?
Yeah, I mean, that's my thought exactly. My question to our viewers is, what do you think? Are we overreacting? Are we doing the right thing? And, what would you do in this situation?
So the whole gas situation came about probably a month or so ago when our landlord showed us the gas bill, and it was extremely high. And he had mentioned to us before about our gas bill being really high. The only thing that we have in our apartment that runs off of gas is the stove, and we don't always cook on it, and we certainly don't use the oven because it's like a child-size Betty Crocker oven.
And the oven doesn't really work anyway. Even though it's got an automatic lighter, you still have to turn the oven on and stick a match in there or something to light it.
One of those lighters, that you use for camping or whatever. So we just don't bother using it because you can't get much in it anyhow. So I told him the first time he had mentioned this to us that, look, we don't even use the stove that often in our the gas. It is a gas water heater, but it's also on solar, so I know that we're not using very much there. So we've talked to him a couple of times about it and stuff like that, and we still just couldn't understand it because we've talked to other friends who live in Morelia where their gas bill was running off of their water heater and their stove, and ours was not, and ours was almost like twice the amount of theirs in 1 month. And last month Mark and I did 2 trips. We went to Copper Canyon and we were gone for 6 days, and then we went to Cuernavaca for 4 days. So we were gone a total of 10 days. And this month when I paid the rent, he told us that we owed more pesos because of the bill again. And we asked him last time when we left, hey, because we ran out of gas I think 2 or 3 days before we left on our trip. And that was fine because we don't use the stove all the time. So we went ahead and we asked him, hey, listen, can you have it filled, the tank, and then check it in about 4 days and see if it's losing some gas somewhere, check the meter. So he told us that they did that and that there was nothing missing. And so this month when we paid the gas, this month when he showed us the gas bill and we had to pay extra again, we said there's something that's going on because it's just way high and it doesn't make sense. I mean, we probably use the stove. How many times would you say a week, babe? Maybe 4 times.
Yeah, 4 or 5 times at most.
Yeah, and maybe it's like 1 burner, maybe 2. But I'm talking like just once a day because it's been so hot and stuff like that we'll do sandwiches and salads and different things and we don't have to use it. So anyhow, so that's what's going on. So I asked my landlord, he said he was going to have somebody come and check it. So they did. They came last Friday. And that's the thing about in Mexico. God love Mexico for sure. But it's like tomorrow isn't always tomorrow. It could be the next day. It could be next week. It could be a couple of weeks. It could be a month.
It's that saying, tomorrow, mañana doesn't mean today. It also might not mean tomorrow either. And like Paulette said,
Right. So anyhow, so the I don't know what he was, the guy that came to check it out. So then my landlord, we use translator a lot. Easy words I could figure out, but when you're in a long first conversation, I'm like lost. So we were using translator back and forth on our phones, and he basically told us not to use the stove anymore, to use the apartment that's vacant downstairs stove if we needed to use it for any reason. So we did. We've only used it once, and that was since Friday. And today's Wednesday, so that's what I'm saying. How often we use the stove, really. So I WhatsApp, because that's what they use in Mexico, my landlord, and I said, hey, do you have any idea when they're going to come and do the work? And he didn't reply. So I asked him again, didn't reply. So today, one of his workers knocks at the door, and he says, we're here to fix the gas leak. So it's like, okay. So they bring in the piping and stuff like that. I get Mark up and I say, okay, let's pack our bags and take the car and vamonos out of here. So so we did. But that's what I mean. I mean, nobody really gets back to you. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I don't mean that negatively. We absolutely love Mexico. But it's just kind of funny, the communication or lack of it or whatever, doesn't always jive. And we packed up and we had breakfast out, and we're here at the park right now, just kind of hanging out with a bunch of stuff that we packed in our car. What do you have to say, babe?
Yeah, we're just here chilling, hanging at the park. We'll go back to the apartment in a couple hours, and hopefully they'll be done with the work by then.
Yeah, I think so. I did see them take out all my dishes from underneath the counters and lay them on top. So I'm not sure what kind of a mess I'm going to have when I get back. But we've been meaning to clean the apartment and we haven't gotten around to it. So today will be a deep cleaning, I'm sure. And then we'll find out whether they're going to come back or what the apartment looks like or whatever. And one other thing, I don't know whether I mentioned this or not, but we do have what do you call them? Carbon monoxide and smoke detectors that we bought from the United States with us here, and we've got 2 of them that's up in our kitchen area.
Which would not detect a natural gas leak. However, you can usually smell natural gas. We never smelled gas in the apartment. We were just going through a lot of gas for what little we did for some reason. But thankfully the owner finally relented and had a technician come out, and they did determine that there's a leak somewhere in the piping. Now the piping is in our apartment is embedded in cinder block and cement. So I think what they're going to do is probably reroute it through our lower kitchen cabinets over to the stove, and so we expect there to be a bit of a mess when we get back.
And we'll put that on camera too when we get back to the apartment. But we do leave our windows cracked somewhat. I told Mark to take a picture over there because it's a nice path with some bougainvillea, however you say it. I don't know how to say the word. Bougainvillea? I don't know.
Bougainvillea. This is another one of those words that I refer to as Martinezisms, just because she comes close to the word, but not quite, but has fun with it, as do I. Now I'll show you an actual video of the bougainvillea. We got some new masks the other day. Paulette had to shop for hers in the junior miss section.
Mine's a child's mask because I have a small face compared to Mark's grande face.
Yep, grande cabeza. So this hole that you see is where the pipe used to go into the wall, and then up and then through the ceiling down. But this is where it goes into the wall now. So I'm going to go on the inside and see what they did. So just as I suspected, rather than running it through the ceiling and having to chip away a bunch of concrete, they just ran it on the inside of our cabinetry. And then they ran it down to the wall, and then they ran it up, into our oven. And that's where the gas line used to come out of the wall into the back of our stove. And then-
However, I think that needs to be sealed
yeah,
off
that needs to
still.
be sealed off. And then this is where it comes in now.